everyone, so it's Leanne Barrable, the Devonshire Shepherdess. I haven't done one of these videos for a very long time, so I thought I would, because last night, for the first time in a very long time, I thought to myself, why, as farmers, why are we actually bothering? So I have really enjoyed watching Clarkson's Farm over the last 4 seasons, and last night I jumped in to watch the ones that were released yesterday. And it started off with, obviously, Jeremy potentially having a heart attack or nearly having a heart attack. And then him being told by doctors, you must give up red meat and dairy, So that was like, oh, great. That's a good start. And then, obviously, a little while into it, he had to get rid of basically his pigs because they weren't making any money. And I've often thought, like, the Clarkson's Farm thing has really hopefully opened up the eyes of what's going on within the farming industry. But then last night I just thought, does it just make us look like a bunch of idiots? Because who in their actual right mind? So you get these CEOs in these top businesses and they're making millions, and they know that they need to make cutbacks, like, I don't know, I think my dad said today, Morrison's are making cutbacks. They're basically getting rid of a load of staff and replacing them with robots to save money, aren't they? So that they can make more money. Whereas we're here most of the time not making any money from any one of our enterprises within farming. And you've got to ask, what the heck is going on? Like, why? And I would say we're quite forward thinking. We've made some huge changes in the last 20 years or so to our farming practices, from what we do now compared to what we did back 20 odd years ago or 15 years ago when I was in my teens. Like, it's so different, and still it's not working out financially. And what I mean by that is we never pay ourselves for our time. So, and partly that is our fault, because we've been brought up to believe that it's a lifestyle. We just enjoy it, and we should just get up every day and do all the jobs because we've got animals. So therefore you have responsibilities. So you meet your responsibilities every single day. And then when you actually put pen to paper and start doing some figures, it's eye-watering. So I put some figures on a page a couple of weeks ago. Basically, so they've been getting rid of subsidies. So they got rid of BPS. We had countryside stewardship, and that I think is still in play. We've got a couple of years left on our countryside stewardship, but they're introducing SFIs now. And we've decided not to do any SFI for the moment because it just creates more red tape and it's just more of a pain in the arse. You have to follow the rules in order to get paid. If anything goes wrong, like you have a drought situation or something like that, they might come down on you and say, oh, you broke the rules, so we want our money back, etc. So within the next couple of years, we want to be able to not bother, really. And personally, I kind of just don't want to take that payment anymore. But when you take away that payment and you just look at what the income of so we've got beef enterprise, we have a small sheep enterprise now because we've cut back our sheep for multiple reasons. And we do like beef boxes, we have, we do a snack shack, which doesn't bring in a lot, but it just brings in odd bits of money, and a few other bits and pieces. And what we bring in, basically, we are putting double out in expenses. So our expenses every year are double what we're bringing in. And it just doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, it's stressful because it means that because we're beef and sheep, we don't have that monthly income. If we were to put in a dairy unit, so say we went dairy, for anybody that's friends of ours, we're not thinking to go that way, but you're looking at that would be over £1 million to put in that kind of unit. We've looked into putting in like a micro butchery and doing our own abattoir kind of here. That again would be like 1.5 million. because we aren't making the profit, there is no extra money to reinvest. So the money that we do make goes towards our running costs. So therefore, we would have to go to the bank. We would then have that 1.5 million hanging over our heads. And unless we could really push through the numbers, so that means we'd have to increase the herd numbers, we'd have to go to more an intensive system. We've become a very extensive system, and that's in order to basically let the land heal and like actually be able to grow something, because we've stopped using artificial fertilizer, there is a lag point where our soil is like, oh gosh, I'm really tired, I can't grow so much. So we've had to cut back on our numbers. So in order to make any of that work, we'd have to put a substantial investment out there. And do we want that? Not really. Who wants that? And we don't. Andrew and I, my husband and I, have discussed it. Mum and Dad don't want that kind of overheads, and I don't think we do either, because it just creates more stress. And stress is the thing that I'm having to recover from, because, I've now been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. It's probably been coming on for years, but it hit me last year. So stress is a major part of why I have that in the first place. And it also causes flare-ups and stuff. So I don't want that extra stress. So it kind of leaves us like, what are we supposed to do? What is the best thing? Because I don't want to give up. I know that when you have your own land and your own farm, it is a key position to be in, because we can be self-sufficient should we ever need to be in the future. If the digital ID stuff comes in and they start putting tags on meat and dairy, then we can just carry on and we'll just make our own meat and dairy and sell to whoever wants to buy from us without a digital ID. So there are ways that we can work around it. But right now, it's like, what needs to happen in order for us to be able to maintain, to be able to, pay the ever-increasing costs? So I just wanted to come on and just share my heart on this, really, because I've not done this kind of post for a very long time. It's been a lot about my health on here, because that has taken a priority, and I have chosen to take that as a priority. But I also understand that I have responsibilities within our farm, and it's just a really interesting time. The other thing that I watched last night, so Jeremy Clarkson, there was a guy that I follow online called David Wheatley. He's up country. He basically has been trying to look at other income streams to make his farm work as well. He sells peonies, and it's all like really gone bad this year because the sun come out and his peonies come out quicker. And he was saying, nothing's making any money, none of his enterprises. So yeah, what are we supposed to do? It's a really interesting time for farmers, and my stubbornness comes in, and it's like, right, well, we have to work it out, because I no longer think we can rely on the government at all, like the previous one and this one. So because they haven't got our best interests at heart, I think we need to work out what the laws of the land actually are, because the more I research into, certain acts and laws and things that have come in, particularly in the last 20 or so years, 30 years, I think to myself, are we just living in a box that's been made by man to keep us all trapped? Because I honestly think that's possibly what it is. And I'm not willing to stay in that box or be in that box. And when you are landowners, we have that power. And I think that we need to take that power back, because it is important, not just for us and our families, but for local families who want to support us, who are going to wake up in a minute and think, we've got to do something different, because there is a whole movement of people. So if this has resonated with you this evening, just drop me a comment. What do you think? Where do you think farming needs to go? What needs to happen? Because, it's a really interesting time. And I would like to hear your thoughts.